All right, welcome back. Now we're really going to get into it now. We're going to make our website do some stuff. We're going to allow users into our website. So this is probably the heaviest lesson we've had so far. So don't do this one if you've got something else to do in a hurry. You want to sit down and really go through this one and really understand it. So it's a bit of a longer lesson. And it's the crux of the whole thing, I'd say. We're going to see all of the things we've been learning in practice. Okay, so I've again shut everything down so that we can practice starting it up again. I'm going to fire up the terminal from the Spotlight, and I'm going to navigate to my folder, CD, My Apps, and then into the Jump Club folder once I get there. Great, and I'm in the Jump Club folder now, and we know that starting our website is easy now. We just type nodemon once we're there, and a web server will start. Fantastic. We know that if we point our browser at localhost 3000, we'll see that our website is published there, the website that lives in that folder. And if we want to edit that file, that website, we can do so by simply dragging there's the My Apps folder, simply dragging the Jump Club folder onto Visual Studio Code, and we'll then see all of those folders. Last time we were talking about the package.js file, package.json file, and how it extends your web functionality. Okay, great. So we're back. The thing we're going to do now is we're going to use some snippets now. I'm going to explain what those snippets do. You don't need to know the very fine details of this stuff, but I'm going to explain what we're doing as we go, and we're going to start using snippets quite heavily now. So I want you to open your snippets folder, which is on my desktop here. You just saw me open that from over there. So my snippets folder is here. Open up snippets and open up file number 3A, and you'll see this is the file. Okay, so we're going to start cutting and pasting some of this stuff, and so just do as I do in exactly the way that I do it, and I'll explain as I go, but you won't have to type all of this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to move this just to here. Watch the web server's working. So we know the web server's working. That's an important thing to note at this point. Web server's working. Great. So if you've been following how our web app works, we know that our browser is going to hit the app.js file first, and that we know that we tell the app.js file what to do when a user comes in. So we're going to take this from 3A, just take this part here, and we're going to copy it, and I'm going to put it straight after this line, var logger Morgan, and I'll explain it as we do. So I'm going to paste that in there, and this is the bit that I pasted in. All we've done is tell this app that we intend to use some of the functions that we installed earlier. You'll remember we installed all this stuff. Mongoose, Passport, Local Strategy, you remember from the last lesson. So all we've done here is tell the app that we're going to use it. Now it's sort of grayed out a little bit here. You'll see that it's not brightly coloured like this, and that's because we haven't used it yet. We haven't instructed the app to how to use it yet. So let's do a little bit more of that. So we're going to copy this bit here from here to here. Copy that. And I'm going to paste this in straight after this one, require routes users. So require routes users, that's where it is. I'm going to hit that. And again, we've given some instructions. And they're similar to the instructions that we gave here. Remember we talked about, this is where we save the location of the instructions we want to use when we later on hit a page. So what we're saying here is pretty much we're going to make a login page later, and we're going to make a register page later, and we're going to make a logout page later. And what these things are, we're going to make a logout route at least. And what these things are going to do is here nor there to the app.js file, but you'll find the instructions in the routes folder under these three names. So we don't have those files yet, but we're going to add them later. We're going to add some written functionality that we make ourselves into three files: login, register, and logout. We're going to put them in the routes folder. But the app.js file doesn't care. It just cares to record the location of those instructions. Next, we're going to add a whole lot of stuff. This is the middleware setup. So copy from here all the way down to just here, and copy this. Now this is the most grey and murky of all the code we're going to copy and paste in. I'll explain it as best I can, but it's not important that you consume and understand all of this exactly right now. So just go down to where it says app set view engine pug. So copy that and go down further down where it says pug. There it is, app set view engine pug. I'm going to put a few spaces in here, and I'm going to paste in what I copied out of that text file. Great. So we've got where did we start this? Okay, there, the pug there. So the middleware setup started here. So the body parser starts here. This is going to allow us to store some information between pages. We've got a secret word that we don't need. Don't worry about knowing what this is, but it's an app. It allows your app to get access to something that no one else can. There's the Flash. We're going to use the Flash messaging that we set up earlier. We're going to use the passport stuff that we set up earlier. Excuse me. We're going to set up our MongoDB database via Mongoose, like we talked about earlier, and we're going to use the secrets hidden within the .env file for that. We're going to connect to the database. This is how we connect to the database. And then we're going to make the user a global parameter once they're logged in, so that it's known on every page. So all of this stuff, look, I've given you very broad strokes descriptions of what all of this stuff is, and that's the point. You don't need to know exactly what all of this stuff is. Right now, just know that it's safe to do this. Just know that it's further instructions for the things that we did up the top, and you'll see that now some of these are no longer grayed out or in a lighter color. It's because we are using them now. We've told Passport to behave this way down here. We've told Passport we've used it in some way. Now VS Code knows that, and it says, okay, I can see you using Passport somewhere. Okay, so save this, Command S. What else do we have to copy in? The last thing to do is to instruct the app.js file what to do when it encounters an instruction to visit certain pages. So copy that down there, and we're going to copy it after the users router, which is further down again, right here. There it is. So I'm going to put a couple of spaces here now and just paste this in. Beautiful. And this tells the app, in the same way that the index router does and the users router does, it says when someone asks for the login page, use the instructions in the login router. When someone hits the register page, use the instructions in the register router. And we already know that we set those things up right up here. There's the register router. So it says, when someone hits the register page, use the register router variable. And up here, we set the register router variable to instruct the app to get the instructions for what to do when you hit the register page in the routes folder in here. Okay? Beaut. I'm going to save this. See what's happening over here? Every time I save this, the web server restarts. But watch what happens as I do. I'm going to save it again. It restarts, and then it crashes immediately. Now, that's because we don't have the stuff we nominated. We've said we're going to have a route file, and we don't. So it goes to find the route, and it crashes because there's no route there to do anything. All right. So we've got those routes. So you can close this 3A file now. Great. If you open up your snippets file again, snippets folder again, you're going to find the folder for 4A. Okay. I've just given you all of those files that you need for the routes folder. So just copy all of these. We're going to open them up and have a look what they do. But for now, you can just copy them, drag them over here, into the routes folder like that, and it'll say, do you want to replace the index file? Because we do. I've written some new code into, oh no, it's the users file. I've written some new code in there. So yeah, let's replace it. And those files now live in here. Now we still didn't get a, if we restart, if I save the app.js again, it'll save again, but it's still crashing. Okay. Let's just get that far. I'm going to leave the lesson there. What you need to know is we don't have a functioning app. We'll have a functioning app after the next lesson. But in this lesson, what we did was extend our app.js file by saying we're going to use some functionality that we installed before, and these are the names of that stuff. When you, we're going to write some of our own functionality, and that's to be found in these locations. We've got a model one as well. That's to be found in these locations. The account model will be found here. We don't have that yet. The routes will be found over here later on. We're down the bottom. We then set up some specific instructions for the functionality that we nominated at the top, things like passport, etc., right here. And under here, we said, when someone asks for the login page, use the login router. When someone asks for the register page, use the register router. And then I've just given you those pages, the login, register, and logout router. I've just given you those JS files. So we've copied those in from our snippets folder, okay? That's all we've done so far. By the time we've finished, so we've given the instructions, but we haven't quite finished. By the time we finish the next lesson, our app will be working again, and we'll have users able to access our site.